Hi, everyone, and welcome to AI Control Tower. My name is Samil Nimbara, and today I'm going to take you through a really quick overview of the system and show you a bit on all the different capabilities that exist. So, ServiceNow as a platform solution allows easy access with multiple source data and source systems. There's no change or update as with regard to AI Control Tower. We've got a few key personas that we've defined. The AI accountable officer, we've got portfolio product owners, um, and we've got IRM, a really large component of AI Control Tower, where we've got the risk assessment, the impact assessment, information security. All these key users are part of our solution as part of the release. We are expanding. We building vigorously. We've got a dedicated team helping enhance this to further integrate with other solutions as well. Strategic portfolio management already is there. It's a separate stream itself. And we're looking at bringing and ingesting other IRM components, policy changes and updates, third-party risk management, privacy management. And how the system and the solution works is uh, via APIs, we're able to ingest all the different AI agents or AI use cases of what would exist. And it provides a structure in which we could start to assess the risk, assess exactly how and what these different components are and how they come together. So here's how we have it. The structure, as I mentioned, of how these AI use cases come together is part of demand, validate, and deploy. And within these different streams, we've got the intake stream. So this is when and how an AI use case is actually identified. That could be whether through the portal, and I'll show you the portal itself. It could be an in-house developed AI agent, um, very commonly used through ServiceNow, or it could be a third-party AI request as well. There's there's another way that AI use cases can be identified, and that's through automated control indicators. Remember the last slide I mentioned that there's really good integration with IRM, and IRM has automation on identifying triggers that can actually feed into these results. Cloud inventory, so the ability of the AI system to start to link to your cloud environments and your hyperscalers, and then have that data ingested, which can trigger off an intake related data. Strategy and goals through SPM, defining exactly what your AI roadmap and strategy would look like. Once we have approval or we've set goals as well that's sitting through the SPM arm, that can then be ingested. By the way, the strategy and goals is part of the goal framework arm of SPM, which is free with any ServiceNow customers. The SPM professional is where you start to look at your enhancement requests, your ideas, the different feedback links as well. And we can start to link budgets in there. We can have user allocation. And that's where it's a lot more meat associated with the project itself or with the idea itself associated around AI agent. Those are the areas in which the agent can actually be ingested and trigger off the workflow and the different playbook or runbook. Then we get to the assessment stage. So we've identified the AI agent. Now we need to start to assess them. And how we do that is we need to understand exactly what are the different skill sets that we would need. What's the different technology arms as well. Then we've got the AI assessment as out of the box. It's a really smart, well, actually, it is called a smart questionnaire. And we can start to go in and define exactly what that's about. We've got our risk assessment, risk classification. We start to identify controls and risks, all automatically through that questionnaire. Any other security or any other assessments that might be needed as well. So do we need to get clearance from security? Do we need to get clearance from the legal team or compliance team? All that forms part of that runbook itself. Building and testing, we need to make sure that those controls identified gets implemented. We need to identify any policy exceptions or issues that would be as a result of control gaps. And then security and privacy. This is something slightly new that's just been released, is where we need to understand exactly what's the level of access that AI agent would need. At the moment, as out of the box, we're looking at really powerful access of sysadmin, and then that starts to flag excessive access associated with these AI agents. And then before we go into production, we need to make sure that all the boxes are ticked. We've got our review of high priority issues, our risk assessments are done, and any other legal reviews as well also completed. Our monitor stage is about making sure that those controls identified against that AI agent are operating effectively. Any AI cases that might result or be identified as a result of that testing can be managed through the AI case management. And once we've got that AI agent or that use case in production, and we could start to then look at the engagement and the adoption, and we can look at enterprise value. So that is the AI Control Tower solution in a nutshell. It's quite end-to-end. As I mentioned, it touches multiple aspects as well. And today, the demo, because it touches so many areas, I'm going to focus on a few key items. For intake, I'm going to show you exactly how the requests would come in through the portal, the indicator, and cloud. I'm going to take you through the runbook to show you how the impact assessment is done, the smarts behind that questionnaire. And then we're going to jump into AI use cases, adoption, and my favorite, which is enterprise value. Okay. And last but not least is we've got three personas that I'm going to juggle and toggle between: the AI accountable officer, also called the CAIO or the COE. We've got an AI product owner and risk and compliance manager. And that's me at the corner of the screen. And that would be Zeus that's sleeping on the other end. Okay, so let's get going. This is what the dashboard looks like. We've got AI Control Tower that's embedded within our Control Tower solution as well. And we can start to see the different AI value data, the platform, the purpose, the accuracy as well behind these different use cases, the value that's generated against all the AI agents, the return on investment, hours served. This is the outcome. This is where we want to get our customers to, and the type of data that we want them to actually use and to get access to. But just like all the other key information and information areas, we need to make sure that it's a starting block. We have to start somewhere. And that starts when the AI agent is identified. So this is the portal request. I'm logged in as the product owner. And I just want to make sure I am the product owner. So yes, I am. And I'm going to request an AI use case through the portal form. So the AI instance that I'm going to use is the ChatGPT demo, and I'm going to call that demo 88, version 88. The state that it's going to be in is development. We haven't touched that as yet. We want to use ChatGPT within the organization, so still development. Model category would be Gen AI. And then it asks me to pop a description. Now, the form does have more information that's defined against that. So this is configurable. We'll be able to update this as and whenever needed. So for the description, I'm going to pop in that fact that I want to use ChatGPT to review and analyze customer data, identify duplicate records, missing information, and provide a really smart summary behind the information. With documentation, this is where we need to unpack: where's my data sitting? What does my data look like? And here I've got a bit of detail on exactly what the AI is going to actually start to access and what it needs to start to populate out. Provider, really simple. We can go with any of the vendors that's been defined. Managed by, a mandatory field. This is the user that's actually managing that AI system. So I've logged in with Mary already, and Mary is going to be the owner and the driver behind the assessment, making sure the risk and controls are managed. And we've got the what was this? The AI models and the data sets. And we're going to pick up customer information from SAP, and we're looking at ServiceNow customer purchase history. So that's our request form, ChatGPT demo 88. And the moment I submit that, like every other form that exists within ServiceNow, it says, yep, it's been successfully submitted. I can track that as well and through my activity. And then that takes me through to the AI control tower itself. Now, remember, I'm still logged in as the product owner. And Mary is able to see the total overview where she's got a total of 18 assets. We've got the AI data set, the stuff that's in review as well, and the AI cases by state. Now, the workflow that we've configured is as soon as that any AI use case is actually triggered off, that goes out through to the AI accountable officer. And the AI accountable officer is Aline that I'm now logged in as. So Aline's going to look at all the AI systems that exist, and that's the one that's just been triggered off, the ChatGPT 88, and that's managed by Mary, and that's the one that we just created. So Aline will review this, we'll look at the description behind it, identify exactly what any documentation that would exist. And if Aline is happy with this particular use case, we've got all the approvals, everything is aligned, we've got goals, or we've got strategies that's been set or defined from SPM, all that key information is attached, we can then start a review. And this is when and how the runbook starts to be activated. And the moment I do that, it comes in with the asset lifecycle. And immediately you'll notice that it triggers off an impact assessment that goes out to Mary. She's got a due date that's assigned. She needs to collaborate with legals, get security clearance, and also define any architecture agents as well behind that. So the runbook that we have is out of the box. Now I'm going to jump to Mary so that I'm able to, as a product owner, and I'm going to make sure, and we're going to initiate that questionnaire. Okay, so we've got a total of 19 assets. Let me just refresh that. And Mary would have the ChatGPT demo. And that sits in assess. And Mary then sees the assessment, and she takes that assessment. So here's the second bit of the magic that sits within AI Control Tower. This is the form. It's a smart form that's been designed especially for AI Control Tower. And the logic behind this is the moment I hit start, it's got some key questions behind it. We've got privacy and data protection. Does your AI system use personnel data? Does it collect sensitive information? What about my data privacy? Do we have clear and informed consent behind it? Can individuals request access? AI system provides key information. We run through non-discrimination and fairness around bias testing, making sure we've got significant decisions that have been documented around hiring decisions, transparency and accountability, clear information on how decisions are made, freedom of expression, right to remain anonymous, human oversight and control, impact monitoring, and migration. As I mentioned, this form is out of the box. The magic behind this form sits within the assessment itself. So we've got quite a few assessments that come in as part of the AI Control Tower. And oh, my hand is up. Whoops. I'm going to bring my hand down. And with the AI Control Tower, we are able to lower hand. There we are. So here's the magic behind the form. We've got the questions that I just took you through. It is fully configurable. And the automation. Now, with every yes or with every no that's been defined and answered within the questionnaire, we are able to automatically map out control objectives. We are automatically able to map out risks. And This is where the magic occurs. The form that you're seeing now on screen is out of the box. The risk register is out of the box, and the control register as well. It all forms part of the AI control tower solution. Right. Back to the questionnaire. So we've answered the questionnaire, and then we then start to submit that. Yep, I'm happy with my answers. I'm ready to go. And bang, it's been submitted. Now, that was a request that was triggered from the portal. What happens if we have a request that's currently triggered off from an automated control? So I'm back logged in with the AI accountable officer, where Aline has got visibility across all the AI systems. I go into the new system and I could see that there's an indicator failure against an unauthorized agent. And what has happened here is I've configured a control that automatically reads firewall logs that determines whether or not you've got Jasper or DeepSeek that's been accessed. And what that looks like is, here's my table where I'm able to see exactly which user had accessed which URL and the date that they had actually accessed that information. And with my indicator template, I'm able to go in. Oh, where's my template? My template is with my indicator template. There we go. Unauthorized AI access. I'm able to read that table, look at those key fields, and the moment that there's a URL that's either DeepSeek or Jasper, here's my control objective, and it automatically fails that particular control. This means that based on your policy that's been set, we can link this not only with firewall logs or internet logs itself. We can also link this into your hyperscalers. So the moment that there's an AI use case or an AI agent that's activated from a hyperscaler perspective, we can start to bring that data in as well and fail the associated controls. So two different ways that we could start to bring that information in, which would trigger off the assessment. Now, back to the process. I'm going to jump back through to AI governance. So I'm now going to log in with Josh. That's the risk and compliance manager. And Josh has got his own AI control tower risk and compliance workspace, where he's able to see the risk classification, the models, the data sets. We've got links into authority documents, the overall compliance scores as well. The NIST library is also an out-of-the-box solution. We can see the issues that are requiring attention, our risk overview, heat map, very similar to IRM. We can tweak that into a 4x4 or 5x5 if that's what you have, and we could start to see our different alerts and regulatory assessments as well. That's as a result of changes to obligations that would come in. If I jump into tasks, what we have is the asset tasks. We've got cases that's been identified, any inquiries. So anywhere a user's got a bit of a question around how do we check if that AI model is bias-based, and what are the different steps to actually get that? What do we do on the explainability? So we've got workflow that's configured across all these areas. But what I want to take you through is the group task associated with the so we've got the open source 88, which is an asset task, and that would be the Gen AI. We then approve that related questionnaire and impact assessment. But also I want to take you through the risk assessment. Now, the risk assessment that we have runs through the workflow stages, and it's built slightly different from the normal IRM. And the different based is the methodology is slightly different. Because remember here, we're not assessing a risk, but we are assessing an AI agent or the agent use case. The moment I hit start assessment, it's a very similar platform where we're looking at the impact is considering the operational impact to business with low, moderate, or high, a number of businesses that would be actually impacted, the financial impact behind this particular AI agent, reputation, the complexity of the regulation itself, any related scrutiny or trends, and the overall likelihood as well that would exist. And very similar to IRM, each bullet point and each answer calculates up into a score, which can be challenged and changed. I hit submit, and I can also provide an assessment summary using AI. But if I'm happy with everything and I go, yep, I'm good to go, our assessment then jumps into the monitor stage. So I'm going to jump back over into the heat map, the workspace, show you the operations area. We've got all the AI systems by the different states, the AI assessments, the risk assessments, the indicators, the AI cases, the different states on where the investigations would occur. If we've picked up bias-related checks as part of the AI lifecycle, if the AI has been granted excessive access, how do we track and how do we check those breaches? How do we respond to the federal government if we are a government entity? And we all track that through the AI cases itself. So really good way, all embedded as part of the workspace itself for governance. Now I'm jumping back to the AI product owner, and I'm back as Mary. And with Mary, I'm going to jump back to our request and show you, close that one, close that one. I'm going to show you exactly what a total life cycle would be after the impact assessment is done. So we've got the assessment stage where we can start to track the impact assessment, collaboration, architecture view. Once that gets approved, it jumps over to build and test, and we've got the deployment. And the related structure is and the data that we've got defined is quite easy and easy to manage. Allows us to see this data and track the use case quite easy. So we've got our AI systems. We've got items in assess, we've got build and test, and we've got deploy. And if I jump into assess, I can see, and because now I've logged in, I can mark this item as complete. It jumps over to build and test, where again, we've got some key tasks associated with that development plan, the attestations, collecting the information, the AI asset configuration for privacy and security, pre-deployment assets as well, where we look at the issues, exceptions, an assessment around conformity, which then triggers off and goes over to the risk and compliance manager. And then our final deployment related tasks as well, which would be focused around quality gate, making sure all the testing is signed off and approved, and bang, we can send that over into production, which then moves that lifecycle into deployed. That is the runbook that we've got configured for an AI agent or an AI use case. The workflow jumps between the AI accountable officer and the product owner, and we've got risk and compliance that always does the assessment throughout that life cycle. Now, how do we start to populate value, adoption, and where does that information come from? So with value, we've got a really simple template that we've defined now as out of the box. You could see the overall value here we've got as 8,000 hours. We've got an average of 25 users, and I've got my top 5 AI system, my daily AI actions, my date. I can toggle this between the last 30 days or 60 days. And just like the other workspaces, all this can be exported out into PDF as well for reporting. My top AI systems by value. But here's the meat of the information. So I've configured the ChatGPT related use case to start to pick up value. And what this looks like is we've got, if I just pop into the details of this related uh, productivity check. So we've got, how I've done this is I've configured a calculation from ChatGPT, which takes into account the tokens. There's a calculation of 75% against all tokens that converts that into words. And then that gets converted over into words per minute, hour, and seconds. And then that equates into what would be the total productivity time. Now, this information is being calculated based on this table here. So this is where we start to bring in that information. I've got a user ID, the department that they're from, they've used. So this dude here has used 11 prompts, the tokens that's been used as an input, the words as an input, the token output words, total count, the fact that it takes 10 seconds for a person or a human to write a word, the overall time in seconds that they were used, and the total time. Then I've calculated this against the business value. And how I got to $739 is I took an average salary of that department. So I've got operations, IT, and based on that average wage, I've divided it by 2,000 so I could get it based on hourly. And that's how I'm able to see that for the 20 hours that this person had used ChatGPT, it had saved the business $739. And all this information now can start to be ingested and pulled into the system itself, which is what then provides this particular source. Now, bear in mind that this particular template is very simple. So I had to tweak a lot of areas using performance analytics to start to bring in that specific calculation. And this has taken that word count with the 50% acceptance rate as well behind that. Remember, each AI agent would be different in their calculation because each one does or provides a different task. So you're going to have to put a lot of thought process behind that into how this particular value template is actually configured. Really cool. I went into geek mode for quite a lot to start to pull that together. Okay, so adoption, not much change over from value itself, where it starts to look at the total actions, average daily unique users as well, the feedback, and also taking into account the acceptance rate as well. This is a bit of a false positive with regard to feedback because it's very rare that a user, someone using ChatGPT would pop a thumbs up for the data that they're using. The top 5 AI system group distribution comparison by workflow. Here's my risk and compliance scores that I see from my accountable officer view. Security and privacy. This is where we can see exactly what type of access the AI agent has. And is that access excessive? Is it admin access? Is it powerful access? Is it change access? Or is it just read? And is it autonomous or is it supervised? And that defines as a privilege related agent. And once again, all our AI use cases that are currently in flight and where that information comes through. So that's the AI control tower. As I mentioned, I really touched on a few areas as well. As much as we've got this integrating over into SPM, I haven't gone down the SPM path for that demo. I'm happy to do that with an SPM resource. We've got continuous control monitoring. We've got the attestations as well that could start to pop up. But with the AI control, it's so powerful in bringing all this information together. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you.